Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all. Day 12 of our book, the ongoing book, Surrounded by Idiots. How are you doing? Good. Right, Ms. Jim morning. Okay. So this week, last week, we have read about how to adapt different color patterns and different people. Then we slowly moved into that. We started this week, we read about how to give feedback to different categories people, how we have to give the feedback and what it happens and how they are receiving the feedback, and how we have to give the feedback to the different colors, the red, blue, green, yellow, all these things we have seen. And yesterday we have read about who gets along, which color pattern which can connect with get along with other colors, and who has it's clashes with other colors, that we have read about read yesterday. Now today we are slowly moving into written communications, how each color, when they are writing communication, in written communication, how they are describing. And then and the important thing, the temperament, we are going to I think he or the author is going to reveal that the temperament can be reveal how each person handle the temperament and creates stress factor, all these things he is going to cover. uh, let's get into today's reading. Let me share the screen. Hope you can see my screen. I'll start reading two pages that I will hand over. Please you write your name in the chat section so that I can do warm handover to the next persons to read. Chapter 15, Written Communication. How to evaluate someone when you can't meet in person. Many things are revealed in the way we write. Different colors have distinct writing styles. Some take the time to express themselves, while others keep brief. If you have the chance to read through a long writing sample that the person in question has written, a report, a column, a letter, or a letter to the editor, you have lots to go on. Very often, it's possible to detect a color in the written word. If you are a person of few words in speech, you can also be the same in your writing, and vice versa. If the only thing you have is an email, then you have to go on what you have. Let's say, let's say that you are replying to a customer's message. You want to prepare yourself properly. You look carefully at how his email reads. Is it factual? Is there any kind of personal touch? Is it short and concise? Or does it seem to have been written in little spontaneously? All of these little detail are important signals that you can use to your advantage. As usual, there are plenty of exceptions, but there are still patterns to be aware of. Here are some examples of this can be look like. From Christian Johnson's Team Communications to Sina's uh, Xano subject meeting tomorrow at 11, be punctual. So here this mentioned meeting tomorrow at 11. There is no salutation, there is no things, just he mentioned. What do you think? Is K screaming because he used capital letters? It's not clear. It could be that he just wanted to stress that the time for the meeting is important. Maybe he was rushing out somewhere. It doesn't matter to him that the person receiving the email might be put off by the abrupt style and the caps lock. As always, Eric can live with that. Get a grip. He just wanted to be clear. Generally, be punctual. If it's something, if you put everything in a letter, capital letter, it's kind of shouting or screaming. That is the meaning refers. by putting all letters in capital. Here, your action. Reply instantly. Be short and concise. One way might be to simple reply. Okay. The next one. From to subject meeting. Hello, Sina. What's up? Were you at the game last night? I saw that Lazio was there. He spilled his drink all over himself. And I thought that I would never stop laughing. Check out the picture I put on Facebook. By the way, I thought that we could sit down and chat about that customer tomorrow morning before lunch. It works for you? Is 11 o'clock okay? See ya, really. Then again, the next person's the same from to subject meeting. Oh, I forgot to attach the photo. Anyway, here it is. Well, so the same person's listening email twice. Even in writing, Yellow expresses himself in a very spontaneous and easygoing manner. He likes to share stories and keep things personal. Not the social babble about poor Lassie and his drink. A good laugh that must be highlighted to attract your attention. You reply, there is not any need to rush, but don't fail to respond or he will feel insecure. Be cordial as well. Don't forget to thank him for the funny picture and mention that you laughed at his story. Then from the same question to subject, I just wanted to remind you about the meeting tomorrow at 11. Hope it still works for you. I'm going to bring in some homemade cinnamon buns to have with our coffee. Have a good one. With kind regards, Christian. A softer, more personal tone. Christian had probably polished his email appropriately to make sure there was nothing controversial in it. Reminding people about meeting that were booked a long time previously can be perceived as slightly offensive by some people. So here we want to be certain that nothing can be misinterpreted. And how do you respond to this pleasant email? Be personal and bring in return. Express your thanks. You don't have to say that it will be great to have some cinnamon buns. But if you do it, it but if you do it, it won't do any harm. Then remember to take it easy and not to stress at the meeting. From Christian to Sina, subject meeting. Good morning, Christina. Ahead of tomorrow's meeting with our client, I would appreciate if you could familiarize yourself with the necessary background information. I have attached the documents relating to the issue. Christian name, phone number, with the title, address, and everything. The original invitation to the meeting was sent out a long time ago, but you have already figured that out, right? An alarm was probably set on the computer to send out a reminder about the meeting a day beforehand. The text in the email is factual and doesn't contain even a trace of personal touch. There is a little note reminding you that it's the best to be well prepared. What's the best way to answer this blue email? Confirm that you have received it along with the files. Say that you will get back to him if you have any questions after reading through the material. And know that the sender assumes you will read the whole thing carefully. Yes, we have read all four different colors how they write emails. Now let's see. I can hand over to who is that next? Anjali, take over from chapter 16.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. Would you please zoom it a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Chapter 16. What makes us as mad as hell? Temperament can reveal everything about a person. At the end of this book, I will present you with a history lesson. It is all about Hippocrates, 4 temperaments describing the same differences that this book is all about. It's possible to draw conclusions about someone's behavior based on his temperament. By temper or temperament, I don't just mean what frustrates a person, but rather how he reacts when something unexpected happens. Another way of saying this might be to talk about a person's disposition. It can be how he reacts to
Okay.
changing circumstances and what sort of energy he has. But yes, anger is a good and exciting gauge by which to judge a person's color. Moreover, it's situational. What upsets one person may not upset someone else in the least. By observing how someone reacts when things go wrong, you can get some important clues. Let me give you an example of a quick diagnosis. What the hell? For the sake of, please remove the cursor. Yeah. For the sake of simplicity, let's compare different temperaments to different types of drinking glasses. I would suggest a short glass for a red temperament, but you might say that little glass doesn't hold much. Sorry. Indeed, it doesn't, and many Reds function like that too. It doesn't take much for them to lose their temper and erupt. It could be about traffic jams, missed phone calls, someone moving too slowly on the escalator, not getting their own way. That someone is just generally dense. Remember that of all the colors, they are the ones most often surrounded by idiots. For, please scroll. For a red, there are many reasons to be irritated. A red's strength is that when they explode, they rid themselves of any anger or irritation they have been feeling. They erupt briefly, but it doesn't last. The shot glass may be quick to reach capacity, but it doesn't take long to empty it. They simply empty the shot glass of anger and frustration and they're back to being themselves. I'm not referring to how those around a red perceive things. The advantage is that for all their raging, it usually subsides quite quickly. A red can rarely manage to be angry for long. He blurts out what he wants to say and then he moves on. Sure, he can leave many confused people around him, but that's their problem. He is finished with the episode. Then something deeply upsetting happens again and he just erupts. And again and again. Imagine that you pick up the shot glass and pour it out over your desk. Not nice, but quite manageable. You can always clean it up. But remember, the shot glass fills up just as quickly as it was emptied. It will happen again. Many perceive a red's temperament as totally unpredictable. It can erupt at any time. Nevertheless, I don't think it's just unpredictable. If you know the person in question, you probably also know what triggers his anger. However, it's important to know that a red doesn't consider himself an angry person. He's just given someone a piece of his mind or maybe raised his voice at him. Again, it's just a way of communicating. But to a green, it might seem that a red is angry even when he is just sharing his opinion. So much is in the eye of the beholder. It's common that many people simply back off to avoid confronting the red and triggering his anger. But by letting their anger get the best of them all the time, reds miss out on a lot of feedback. I am very upset. Do you even hear what I'm saying? Even the cheerful yellow loses his temper. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Although yellows generally have a sunny, optimistic disposition, they have a temper as well. Like reds, they are active, perceptive people. This means that they have a lot to react to. And if you are quick thinking, and your tongue sometimes gets away from you, well, then things can happen. What comes out your face front door isn't always well thought out because yellows are very expressive and emotional at the same time. You will know in advance when the mercury starts rising. An observant person won't have any problem noticing that a yellow is on the verge of bursting. The looks of his eyes intensifies. His gestures become impetuous. His voice is raised. All this happens because it happens gradually. If the red temperament is like a shot glass, then we can liken the yellow temperament to an everyday drinking glass. It holds more and it's easier to see when it's full. The level rises a little at a time, and if you are paying attention, you will have no problem of observing this as it happens. Now, if we take the tumbler of milk and pour it out all over your desk, what's the result? It will be a lot messier and much soggier than when we poured out the shot glass, right? Many important papers are destroyed, and it requires more than a single paper towel to dry it all up. But we can still handle the situation. Even this temperamental outburst can be managed without too many serious complications. There are also advantages in a yellow's temperament. He will feel guilty that he laid into someone close to him, colleague, family member, neighbor, or maybe even you. So he'll make an extra effort to be kind the next time you meet. He will have an uneasy conscience, something a red wouldn't be able to comprehend. If a person happens to be a combination of red and yellow, things can get tough. In this case, there is a lot of ego in the room, and you won't quite know what's happening. Depending on the driving forces and motivational factors the individual may have, he can assert his own position almost to the point of absurdity. Genuine yellows can let their egos get in the way most of the time. The advantage, however, is that due to their bad memory, they don't hold grudges for long. They quickly forget that there were any problems, an ability that can make greens and blues find yellows to be a little bit too exciting. Beware the fury of a patient man. Beware indeed. Do you recognize this old saying? The person who coined it probably had a green in mind. You may never have seen a green lose his temper. It may very well be that your good friend, the friendly and gentle pal you have never had a serious argument with, hasn't ever shown even a shred of bad temper. Does that mean that this is a person who can't get angry? Not at all. It just means that instead of turning his temper outwards, it's oriented in another direction, inwards. I would liken a green's temperament to a 50-gallon beer barrel. Can you imagine how many shot glasses it would take to fill it? We could fill, and fill even more before we even start covering the bottom of it. Many greens function like that. They receive and accept without objecting. This is very much connected to their desire to avoid conflict, but also to their inability to say no. They simply agree because it's easier that way. Does this mean that Greens don't have their own opinions? Not at all. They have just as many opinions about things as anyone else. They just don't talk about their opinions. And this is often the problem. They fill the barrel. Week in and week out, a Green accepts one perceived injustice after the other. Note that I said perceived. It may take several years before the barrel is full. Now take this barrel, lift it up, and pour the contents out over your desk. What happens? Everything will be washed away. The water in the barrel will not only wash away everything on your desk away, even the desk itself, and you along with it will go out with the flood too. There's no stopping it. You said that I didn't finish the project on time? Really? Really? Last week you said that I didn't do it well enough. Now let me tell you this. A year ago you promised me a new office and it still hasn't materialized. And when I was hired here back in 1997, you said the same thing, and now let me tell you, everything has to come out. Just make sure that you are not the spark that sets it all off. The problem is large scale. Greens don't release any anger or frustration, but control their emotions so as not to create trouble or stand out. But they feel and experience just as much as everyone else does. They just lack the natural tools to release everything. But we can help by becoming facilitators. We can ask questions, invite them in, and look for signals. Look at their body language to see if there are signs of disapproval. Create a healthy environment around a green so that he becomes comfortable enough to say what he thinks so that he doesn't have to continually compromise his position. Otherwise, he will turn all his frustration inwards. And we know what this kind of stress can do to a person. I have my own private theory, which I certainly cannot prove scientifically, but I suspect that this may be the main reason why greens suffer burnout. They carry anxiety, anguish, and even anger for so long that it eventually makes them ill. It's a noticeable problem that should be taken seriously. A complaint a day. During an extremely stressful period in my earlier career in the banking sector, I once heard a comment about a blue. All of us were working every day and night, and many of us were showing the stress. Frustration was hanging in the air. Our credit controller was in the middle of the whole thing. Nothing got Nothing got to her. She never even acted stressed. Her face was absolutely indecipherable, and her gestures were as limited and moderate as always. While the rest of us ate our lunch on the go, she took her full 60 minutes and ate in peace and quiet. It was as if nothing could disturb her peace. Then one of my yellow red colleagues said, "She is not normal. She doesn't have any feelings in her body." Back then, it sounded logical to me, but when you think about it, it can't be true. Blues simply have less need to communicate than greens, so they simply don't do it. Some things are turned inwards even for blues. Those who are quick thinkers may wonder if blues run the risk of burnout just as much as greens do. Not at all. They have a system to keep stress under control. Metaphorically speaking, blues have a beer barrel as greens have, but there is one crucial difference. At the bottom of the barrel, there is a handy little tap. This tap gives a blue a valve to release part of the content of the barrel. He can regulate the pressure whenever he wishes to. Moreover, the tap leaks. It's not tight enough to create a perfect seal and small drops drips most of the time. A blues dissatisfaction comes out in the form of tiny grumblings. Just look, someone has misplaced the pen again. Typical. Now I'll have to finish this off myself. As usual, I get the most boring task. There is no structure here. Typical. And so he goes on. His pinpricks affect those around him, but what they hear all the time is just a muttering trumpet. The embers don't fan into a fire. We interpret it as a perpetual winning, but the discontent is real. And because a blue isn't sufficiently active to instigate something, he'll argue about things rather than doing something about them. It's all based on complaints that others should see what he sees, that he doesn't have any authority to act, or that he's simply in a bad mood. But for him, this is a great way of keeping the pressure under control. So the barrel will never need to be emptied out over somebody's desk, and thus serious catastrophes are avoided. The way to manage his nagging is to ask counter questions, ask for concrete examples, ask for suggestions for improvement. It may, in fact, be the case that the blue has solved the problem that is plaguing him, sorry, but that he needs a straight question in order for him to step forward and suggest a solution. Anilji, you want to take from here?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to all. What can you do about the facts that people don't get pissed off in the same way? With these simple observations in mind, you can quickly form an idea of what type of person you are dealing with. Pay attention to how he reacts under stress and pressure. But at the same time, remember that no system is perfect. These are only indications and they apply only to individual colors. Besides, as I wrote previously, different situation can give rise to completely different forms of conduct. Generally speaking, the more important a particular thing is for a certain person, the stronger his reaction will be. See for yourself. If someone insult your neighbor, you might think it was unfair, but you don't make a big scene out of it. However, if someone were to insult your husband or wife, you would be absolutely furious. That's just one example. There are many level and degrees of different to reflect on. Stress,
Okay.
stress factors and energy thieves. What is stress? Anger is one thing, stress is another. Sometimes one is the consequence of the other, but not always. Some people become angry because of stress, others become stressed because of anger. When we speak about stress, we often mean the feeling of having too much to do and too little time to do it. There is not enough time to do everything at work, and then on top of that factor in the time needed to go to the gym, meet with friends, spend time with the family, do various kind of recreational activities, oh, and maybe sleep. However, the stress that makes us truly suffer is often due to things apart from lack of time. If you feel pressure, have high expectations about what you will do, how you are meant to be, you can become stressed even if you are not really pressed for time. Pressure, demand, and expectations create stress, can make you feel self critical and powerless. You may find it difficult to sleep or may feel physical pain in your body. Simply put, the feeling of stress arises when the experience greater demands and expectations than we can cope with. Different people react differently to stress. What a surprise! Seriously, though all of us react differently to stress, different people can experience the same event in different ways. Any person can experience similar events differently at different times. The things you have been through in the past and how you are feeling right now all have an effect on how you act and react. If you are well rested and feeling fine, you could experience a tough week at work as an invigorating challenge despite your heavy workload. But if you are tired and feeling down on yourself, you may experience the same week as something horrible and demoralizing. How does your collect affects your stress? It says nothing about your stress threshold, that is how much stress you can bear, but it can say something about what stresses you and how you will react to stress. Previously I mentioned the concept of driving forces. Whatever forces motivate me to get up out of bed every morning, dash to work, and go to extra mile. This book doesn't deal with this dimension, but it's easy to see that we become stressed when we feel that we are spending too much time on the wrong things. Once you have understood what the most important stress factor in your life are, you will better equipped to avoid them when possible. If you are a manager responsible for a number of people and you know their behavior profiles, you can avoid the worst pitfalls. A great deal of stress can be avoided if you know how, and you can retain the group's productivity. The rest of the chapter is written with an element of irony, and I urge you to read it in that way. Stress factor for rats. If you would like to stress out of a rat, you can try one of the following to lower his self confidence. Take every form of authority away. Not being involved in decision making is really difficult for a rat. He always believes that he has better ideas, and so he also believes that he should be the one in charge of the project. achieve no results whatsoever. If we are not making immediate headway, then all our work has been a waste. Such an insight can trigger severe stress reactions in a rat, and those around him should be on their guard. He will look for scapegoats, eliminate any kind of challenge. If everything is too easy, it becomes boring. Rate behavior hinges on one thing, the ability to handle problems and difficult challenges. If there are no problems to solve, then rats will lack stimulations. They will become passive, believing that they have absolutely nothing to do. They can slow down the pace, and this can be difficult to reverse. Waste time and resources, and work as inefficiently as possible. Just sitting around doing nothing is a waste of time. Not that this is necessary, really what we are actually doing, but in the mind of a rat, if you don't get the maximum productivity out of your time, it's a wasteful and particularly stressful from a managerial perspective. He is probably evaluated on the organization's efficiency. Make sure that everything becomes a routine. Mundane and repetitive tasks are the kiss of death for a rat. It's simply boring. Rats lose their concentration and will find something else to do. Routine work is not what they are good at. They are lousy at details and they know it. Someone else need to take care of this dull routine work because a rat believes that he has a better understanding of the big picture. Make a bunch of stupid mistakes. Mistakes are one thing, but stupid mistakes, well, that's something completely different. It's so overwhelming, unnecessary. If a rat believes his colleagues and brainless, he gets crazy. Why don't they understand what they are supposed to do? How hard can it be? Give him no control over others. A rat's need for control can be extensive. It's not about controlling facts and details. They want to control people, what they do, how they do it, and so on. Without this control, a rat gets very frustrated. Tell him regularly to cool down or to lower his voice. They get crazy when people say that they are angry. When they are not, they will always be a little more hot tempered than average. But this doesn't actually mean that they are angry. And it's precisely these accusations that can get them to become angry. Really angry? What does a rat do when he gets stressed and feel pressured? He blames everyone else. As a rat is often surrounded by idiots, it's easy for him to single out scapegoats and he can easily overdo things. When he wants to take someone to task for having made a mess of things, be aware. That's my advice to you because you will feel the sting of his wrath. Rats are always more demanding than other colors. They expect a lot from themselves and they expect a lot from you. When under stress, they are also excessively demanding and driven, much more than usual. The rat will shut out his other colleagues. He becomes closed, burrows into the task at hand, and works even harder. Remember that his anger and frustration is lurking just beneath the surface, so please be careful about what you do in his presence. Can I help rats to manage their stress? If you have the authority to give a direct order, the answer is simple. Ask them to get a hold of themselves. It actually works. Another way to make it easier for rats in stressful situation is to send them home. Tell them to do some physical exercise, anything to burn some of that frustrated, restless energy. Send them to a place where they can run in some kind of competition, spending their energy on winning something. that will be of no importance to the group. When they come back, most of their aggression will have dissipated. Stress factors for
Thank you,
yellows.
Anilji. Anyone else wants to read? I think the next factor is doing. That's fine. Anyone would like to read? Okay, Anil, we continue. Thank you.
I can continue.
Yeah.
If for any reason you would like to get a yellow to feel stress, try one of the following to get him off balance. Pretend he is invisible. You remember a yellow's driving impulse, right? Look at me, here I am. If you want to get him off balance, simply make him feel invisible. If he is not visible, then he doesn't exist. He feel ignored and overlooked, and this is guaranteed to cause stress. Become very spectacle. Any person manifesting lots of skepticism is very negative, something that stresses yellows. They want to see the positive and the light and consider even everyday realists to be prophets of doom. Pessimism and negativity effectively kills yellows enthusiasm and cause them to feel tense. Structure work as much as possible. Just like rats, yellows shun routine, repetitive tasks, and jam packed schedules. They happily create schedules for others, but they can't follow them themselves. Force them into one of your plans, and you will see how your yellow friends will begin to unravel. Isolate him from the rest of the group. For a yellow, the absence of someone to talk to is perhaps the worst thing ever. It's the end of the world because they need to talk. There must be someone there to listen. Being trapped in an office space with only a desk for a company is a punishment worse than death. It's like being deported to Siberia. Make clear that's in that it's inappropriate to joke at work. Not joking around and no sense of humor. Is this a funeral parlor? I once got exactly that comment from a yellow who discovered that consultants didn't have time to monkey about. She was very stressed out by all the seriousness and left before her period was over. Push a yellow to think carefully beforehand twice. Suppressing a yellow spontaneity is like holding down the lid on a saucepan when the milk is boiling over. It simply doesn't work. It creates a terrible mess. Everyone gets involved when yellow loudly and intensely invite everyone else into their spiral. Remember that a yellow's stress will always be noticed. Don't believe otherwise. Continuously squabble and fuss about insignificant things. Having to face incessant confrontation is exhausting. This is something of a paradox because yellow are not afraid of conflicts like greens. But if there's too much bickering, it will disrupt their desires for fun and positivity, which causes stress. They can cope with squabbling, but when it becomes too much, yellow won't be at the top of their game. They lose their usual luster. Try a little public humiliation. A yellow who has been given negative feedback in the presence of others won't be a pleasant sight to behold. It's enough to make him never speak to you again. Moreover, he will also become incredibly defensive and you will achieve nothing at all. What does a yellow do when he gets stressed and feel pressured? Be prepared for the facts that he will draw attention to himself even more than usual. His ego makes it impossible for him not to seek out more attention and affirmation. Since he has to compensate for the negative feeling of stress, this means that he will actively look for attention, which makes him feel better. The risk is that he will talk too much and force himself into the center of everything. Maybe you thought that this was not possible, but he also runs the risk of becoming excessively and unrealistically optimistic. You have never experienced a real challenge until you have tried to cope with a truly stressed out yellow. He will come up with plans that are so wild and outlandish that not even he can believe them. This is just a natural coping mechanism for him. Can I help yellow to manage their stress? Let a yellow organize a party. He urgently needs to meet people in some social context. He can sink very deep into his own misery if he remains under stress for too long. When things are at their worst, suggest a pub crawl, a party, or why not just a simple barbecue. It doesn't need to be a fancy, but make sure he gets to enjoy himself for a while and also make sure that it's fun. Stress factors for green. If you, for any reason, would like to get
Anilji, please. I think let's practice for green. We can continue tomorrow because
yes,
yeah, I think it's a new chapter. We can 45. Green. If you continue read, it will go till 8 o'clock. We have stress factors for green and as well as stress factors for blue. What do you say, guys? Do you want to continue to complete this chapter, or can we stop this and we can have a discussion? One, two,
I
Let's
think we
stop
can.
here
Yes, yes,
because two colors are there now, so it will
yeah,
be
yeah. Around
very
6, 7 pages are there, but I think if we continue, then we have to extend 10, 15 minutes beyond to complete. Let's stop today's reading and we can have a discussion so that we can end this session by 8 o'clock today. Thank you, Anjali, Swan, and Anil for the beautiful reading. Let's get into discussion. Today we have covered 3 chapters overall. When we started written communications, how the different color patterns they are writing communications, and then what makes us as mad as hell. Then we start. Then we read about stress factors. We covered today stress factors of red and yellow. Okay, let's go step by step, one by one. The first one, whatever we have read, the written communications. I'm sorry, I think I have cold. So in written communications, its main idea is how each color communicates differently in writing. So far, I think we have read in the entire book, we read about how their behaviors, how to talk, and how to handle them, all these things. By seeing written communication, someone's emails, we can identify the colors, the color patterns, which color patterns they are belong. Author said about red. Red people, they write the communications very short and action focused message, and they are least bothered about that the grammatical and or the structure and all those things. They just want to convey the message. Hey, I just want to get this work done, this to him, and send a message. That's how the red communicates, and they are getting to the point of the fast, and they don't overload and fancy things and other things. Focus on what, when, and result. That's how the communication will be there from the right. Yellow, they are enthusiastic people and expressive people. They bring up something in writing. It's how they are talking. The same way they are bringing up lively creativity, and they bring up some incident. Some they try to create a rapport with a person by even in the email, and also they appreciate in the email. Hey, you did a good job. Many things you have mentioned that. So when in that email they are even though they are expressing some creative, but it is not. Sometimes we may feel unprofessionalism and chaotic. So when writing to LOs, we have to be very friendly and engaging and warmth and engagement, and avoid sounding too formal or cold. So that's way we can follow when you're writing to LO people. So green, how they write email, it is a very the longer and softer messages. I think they don't come up with something harsh words. Even if they have something to express to the person, they don't get into in the writing communication. They are very careful about it, and they make sure that the message has been transferred. They avoid harsh words and confrontations in the communications. When you are writing the green communications, let's be respectful and kindful, and give them time to respond. I think don't be rushed. Hey, come give me the response or give me the update or something. That won't work with that agree people. And let's be also calm and reassuring tone. Then the blue, they are very structured, formal, and fact-filled. They will have a lot of links in the email, a lot of history and so many informations. I think backstories, everything they will cover it in that particular communications. They make sure that if anyone reading the particular email, they will have the complete information about it. And even if that's in reference required, they'll clearly mention that okay, you can check this one so and so date we have sent the email something. Then the tan, that tone also very cold and they reflects precisions. When you are writing emails to the blues, be clear, logical, and factual. We should have it. And avoid exaggerating or emotional languages. Organize your thoughts with the structure. So that's what we have covered in that the first chapter of the written communications. Anyone would like to share anything, any of your personal experience? Have you come across with some communications? Have you sent? Please share your thoughts. Then we can jump. Then we can move into that next chapter.
So
Yes.
I want to share, Rajesh ji.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that every color has own way of writing, but when it comes a particular situation in a particular situation or a particular message that in a particular situation of mind situation when you are writing, then the tone can be different. I think the red can also write differently, green also, yellow, but they can change their tone of writing in case the situation is completely different. Then their writing can change. That is my opinion. This is the standard that the author is talking, but the basis on the situation that the writing the what they are writing that can change.
Of course, I think it depends on that where you are belong to. For example, if you belong to any organization and they have certain material, certain procedures, and they have certain email etiquettes to be follow. Uh, of course, I think whatever that mood, I think they have to maintain discipline uh, and the email etiquettes we have to follow. Depends on that organizations. Otherwise, they may face some other problems because written communication is a clue. Even if you say something you can avoid, I think you can change it later, or you can try to con- change the control. But when you write something in the email, that's a proof. Especially I think that's what I think when you are so much emotions, or when you are emotions high, even if you are high in emotions, happy or sad, don't make any writing that work, because that may backfire in different way. Yeah, I agree with you. It depends on the organizations where you belong. That also matters. Anybody, anyone wants to share your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. It's quite interesting that the behaviors can be judged with physical communication while with direct communication. Though we were doing intuitively, we were judging all this intuitively also. But just this, after reading this book, it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are getting more aware that how we can judge others. And it's very true that once we read others' perspective in written, we are able to do that intuitively also. But after reading this, we are getting more and more aware.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, man. Thanks for your inputs. To share
Yeah,
this. Anyone? Yeah,
yeah.
Vidya.
One thing which, I was just listening today, and my thought was that this kind of, when people lose their temper and they kind of start showing their dissatisfaction, the green, it talked about green giving a history of all the things that happened from day one, that you did this and you did that and you did that. I see a lot of people, especially women, do that a lot. I'm not trying to generalize between the genders, but I have seen my mother do that a lot. Whenever she gets frustrated with something, then she particularly gets more angry and all the things. And I don't think she's particularly green or something like that. But this was just my feeling that, is it also related to other aspects? Some people just don't vent out, or they don't show their frustrations very frequently, and then after that, once it really gets to a boiling point, then all the things from past history start coming out. That was kind of attributed to the green type, but I feel that it could be relevant to other types also.
Yeah, Vidya.
May I add something to what Vidya said?
Yeah, please.
So, yes, Vidya, I agree, but I think this is more like situational things, because with the time we modify our behavior, we start adapting ourselves with the people around. And that is like, as you said, your mother's behavior. So it is not ladies. Author, although author has said that 80% are green people, but still many people, they keep everything to themselves, because maybe the people around, they feel they would feel hurt, or they might create a situation where tension or stress might arise in the family. So that time they try to control it, but when after a point, no, it comes to the brim, or it's just overwhelming and they are just unable to control, that time they explode. So I think a few things also depend on the situation, and also how the person try is holding it or managing it. Even for the red in a family, red may not explode all the time, or like blue may not try to vent it out throughout, because it will create a situation which is not harmonious, or which is not peaceful in the family. So it is, I think it's situational, and it is like how people behave accordingly with the people who are in the vicinity with. Because in office they need to be very open, very clear, but in family or in relations, they have to think like what comes first, the priority, they have to prioritize the people around. So I think that emotional connect, or the result that matters. If they are focusing on a perfect goal, they have to communicate that, because they are focusing, they need to achieve something in time. There the behavior or the written communication or the physical expression is different, but in when handling relations, sensitive people, that time it is different. So it's more like a situational thing, what I believe. That's all.
Thank you, Anjali, for bringing up. And whatever we have read in the chapters, written communications. See, I think sometimes we have to be very careful and cautious. Your emotions will be seen or will be realized even in written communication. If you think that, hey, I can express only with my words, but written communications people cannot understand, that's completely wrong. People can easily can guess what kind of mood you are by based on the letter you use and the words you use and the sentences you make. So, so, so be careful when you are writing communications, and especially whom you are writing, and what way I think we can uh, what we can convey the message to them. That is what that learning from this chapter in written communications is based on understanding people. Now let's move into that next chapter. What makes us mad as hell? What is making triggering? I think each colors. I think what things are triggering them, or they are making high. For the red guy, mainly it is making inefficiency, indecision, and incompetence. when they see such people, such things, they are not able to accept it because they always make it standards very high and expecting all things. When they see such things, they do not be they go high, and they are also hate wasting time and dealing with the slow people. How we can make calm such red angry people? Be quick, confident, and clear when you are communicating or when you are doing any task. Offer solutions, not excuses. That's more important. And the next one we read about yellow. What yellow makes? What triggers yellow people? Negativity, criticism, and restrictions and backfire and talking about something backstab. All those things it's triggered them. They hate being repeating the things again and again and bore them. So what we can do, make them to calm, use humor and optimism, and the re-engage that enthusiasm and appreciate them whatever they are doing and make them to feel understand how their presence making things here or making add values to here. So in that way, I think we can make them calm and we can handle them. Other things, green. What is make them green angry? Conflict, pressures, and sudden changes. They cannot accept the sudden changes. They need some time. They also get easily get upset by somebody's lewd and something disrespecting and pushing, and they just need peace and time to think. If we pressurize them, then they wouldn't be able to take it up and respond, and that also triggering them. Uh, how we can make them calm? How we can make them calm? Be patient, kind, and consistent, and give them space to reassurance. So that is way we can make them. Otherwise, by pressuring them, that won't help them. Blue, what triggers them? Disorder, incompetence, and dishonesty. This is very important for them. I think they get easily they want the detail based. I think if they don't see that one, that is also triggering them, and they want to have not emotion, something facts and figures, statistical basis. If they don't see that, if they don't see in the communications or that messages, they don't accept it. So when we are handling such people, acknowledge if we have not provided all these details to them, acknowledge that mistakes and provide logic, structure, and clear plans to fix it. Not that in emotions or that something went on high on emotions or not being listened, that will trigger them. So these are the ways we can trigger. So the emotions are the thing. We by recognizing all these things, emotions are the hot buttons, and we have to use it the right way with the right people. Anyone would like to share 1 or 2 minutes? Can talk about. I think we have the high on emotions and how to make the trigger, how to trigger them. Anyone would like to share? I have to cover it up one more topic. The sharings. Anyone would like to share on this topic? Okay. Then last chapter we have read about this one, the stress factors and energy thieves. We have today we have read about two red stress factors: red people and the yellow people. Okay, I think I. Anyone would like to share the last topics we have read? The stress factors and energy thieves. The last one. Okay, for the red personalities, the stress factors is loss of control and power. And if someone says very slow and indecisive, and sometimes feeling ignored, also they cannot accept it. I think they always expect they are valued, and their messages and their commands are valued. If they feel that, I think if they ignored, then also it's making stress them. And failure to incompetence. They are very result driven people and they are not able to accept that failure, and if someone says that the person's incompetence, they wouldn't be able to accept it. So we have to how can we reduce the stress? We can let them make quick decisions. We can keep communicating with the short and direct way communications. Acknowledge their achievements. I think when they do something, acknowledge them and accept them and follow that decisions whatever we have taken. Then the yellow personalities, that factor I think we discuss about Negative or pessimistic people, I think they get irritated with such people, and they cannot reject. I think they don't want to have be rejected and socially isolated, and they are not interested to the boredom of the routine works again and again, and they're also not willing to hear that the strict of the criticism from about the characters or about the behaviors. These all make them to stress. How we can handle them? I think keep that environment positive and flexible for them, to make them to calm down and appreciate that creativity and ideas. Give the opportunities to express whatever they have, ideas they have, and balance feedback. I think there is not that very low way or the very high way. So the balance feedback will encourage them and encourage that humor. So in that way, we can stress down such the yellow people. So tomorrow we are going to read that remaining two color patterns. Fine, I think this is the summary. Would like anyone would like to share regarding the stress factors we have read about these two chapters? Anyone want to share your experience, please?
No experience. Just I just summarize. I have taken two words for two color traits. For the
Mhm.
red, it is the control. They need the control of for the process, and they need the control over the people around. And for yellow, they need constant appreciation, and that keeps them alive. That keeps them energized. So if the yellows are ignored, they give away. Similarly, if the red feel that their control is going, they would just back off. So these are the two words that I could relate: control for the reds and appreciation for yellow.
Superb, superb. Nice, nicely put it across, Anjali. Anyone? Suman, Anil, Mansi, Vidya, would you like to share your points about that stress factors and how we have to handle them?
So no, nothing too special to add. But only thing that I want to tell about this book, just every chapter as we are moving now. So, it's my feeling. I think that whatever that we are reading, that the I think what we have read in the previous chapters, and the same thing that I think that the author is differently presenting in different situation in the stress and all that situation. So, that's my view. That
Actually, in this book, when you read the first chapter, right, actual essence you can get it. But when we go beyond the chapters, I think the author is thinking the different angle and different situations. How they think. Even sometimes some when we explain about this book, people are make it bored. I think someone joined in between, definitely they get bored. Why these people are talking about the same thing again and again? They are talking about
Hmm.
same colors, same thing, but actually we are talking something different. We are getting deep into this one. Only people those who have been in the beginning only can understand and make a difference. Otherwise, if someone joining in the middle and they wouldn't be able to connect disconnect, I think that's what I think I felt from that. The Manish ji also yesterday he could not connect in between the particular chapters. I completely understand.
Yes, yes,
Otherwise, I think we
very
can
true, very true.
the same chapter.
What you are saying, right? Because we are a whole of many, many experiences. There are different angles how we behave there. It may be stress, it may be happiness, it may be office, it may be different other behaviors. How we are reacting with that in connection, it brings a different perspective.
Yeah, I
and
think
what
this book can be simplified. I think if someone want to explain about this book in 2 minutes, also can be explained. 20 minutes also can be explained. 2 hours also can be explained. Even we can take it 2 days also. I think there are a lot of things are there, but they based on requirement and based on situations, we can make them to understand what is this book about in the all three four categories: 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours. Even the 2 days also we can talk about this book. A lot to that to understand about the people behavior and their psychology. Yes, Anilji.
so when I try to fit someone with whom I'm interacting during my professional life. So I am unable to figure out the color. Sometimes some of the people's my that I am interacting, but what is the color they have? Red, yellow, blue. So I just think about this book and try to fix them in a particular color or two colors. But I still just we have completed more than 50% of this book, but I still sometimes feel struggle to just identify their color. So might be that the personality that I am not able to visualize that particular person. So that I think the human behavior that change based on the situations that the person is might be dealing when he or she is dealing with me, that time he behaves differently. Or might be that the person, I think this behavior or the personality changes with the situation. That also be the reason that we are not able to identify the color, that we cannot say that particular person fits into that particular color. So this behavior keep on changing basis on the situation that as we deal in the real life. So that is my view.
Yes, I think in the author in this book he has clearly mentioned that there is none. Only 5% of people, 5% of people have only one color. More than 80% of colors they have mix of two colors. That he has mentioned in the book itself. We cannot say this is not a blueprint. Hey, this is the you are a blue or you are a red or something. It's not a blueprint. Yes, of course, situations and environment also plays and where we belong, and that plays major role when we express something. Sometimes you may be a yellow person, but it cannot be yellow persons for everywhere. Maybe you are yellow person with your friends. You are not yellow person with your office colleagues or with your manager. We have to change, and that at that places we have to change different color patterns. Uh, but understanding
And
people, I think understanding person, it will take some time to know different situations, how they react and how they behave. That will give us idea. By looking at one person's, okay, we cannot come to we cannot come to any conclusions.
correct.
One
So
thing,
so so so
what I feel is that writer somewhere mentioned also that in challenging environment, in challenging situations, how one behave, that is the dominant color.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And also sometimes when we are put into the pressure, right? I think when we are handling very tough situations, that places, I think we will get to know that the true color, how we handle that places or how we handle that situations. That means it's not a normal times when we are under pressure, how we do this. That also many times, I think many times we will come to know the true color of the persons when they were tough time or when we are in tough time. Yes, I think time is 8:11. I don't want to take more time. I want always want to finish the session by 8 o'clock. But today we have a good interactive sessions. Thank you so much, everyone. We come to end of these chapters. I think around three 3 4 pages or 3 4 chapters are remaining. Hopefully this week or the next week, one day or 2 days, we can complete the chapters. I think we have a game. I think coming days we will have a game. I think whatever we have understood, let's play a game. I will come with some preparations, some questions also there. We can discuss about that as well. That will be more interactive. Whatever we have understood, whatever we have learned this chat book, we can check we how much we understood in from that the Q&A questions. I'm waiting for that one. Thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
Have
thank
a
you,
wonderful
Rajesh.
day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. Wonderful session. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Anjali, always being first and leaving last.
Actually, by 50, when I saw your message, na, I thought you
Yeah.
are there in the room, but then
No,
I was the first
that
to
I
join.
today I woke up late and I just sent a message immediately. I woke up. Yeah.
Okay, then see you tomorrow.